Hey, we're Ben and Shelley, and welcome to our van tour. Welcome to our van. We've got a 2002 Ford Transit van converted with a Holden Commodore V6.
For more on that, watch this video as to why we actually had to do that.
It's a medium wheelbase and medium roof transit van. We bought it semi-converted and we've spent a month renovating it and finishing it off.
We're really proud of the end result, so we're excited to show you around. We're going to start with our favourite part of the van today, which is in the lounge room. Come on in. So Ben and I both work fully remotely, which allows us to live this awesome lifestyle. I work full-time for a company in cardiology back in the UK, and Ben does motion graphics as a freelancer. So a really essential part of our van build was to have a good, comfy office space. So we have not one, but two pull-out desks, which allows us to have one each, definition of space, and it also allows us to put the other one away if just one of us is working, and it just frees up the whole rest of the van, which is really awesome. The rest of our electronics for our office space, we each have a basket with our hard drives, chargers, I don't know, just a lot of our stuff ends up in these. But we have a little secret hidey hole for our laptops. So you just pull the little thing up, grab your laptop out, pull the desk out, and your office is set up. Obviously we need power here, so we've got 240 volts here so we can plug our laptops in. And in terms of reception, Australia is known to have very patchy reception. We haven't had too much troubles. You do have to plan accordingly, but we've just got a little cheap antenna on the roof. It just comes in and it plugs into our Telstra dongle, and the antenna really does make a difference. Often we'll have no bars of 4G and we'll plug the antenna in and we go up to sometimes 3 or 4 bars of 4G, which is really awesome. There's obviously 5G, but a lot of Australia doesn't have 5G yet, so we didn't bother investing in that option. And the other great thing about our couch space is it turns into a cinema room. So we chuck a projector up here and we've got a screen that can roll down on here, and then we enjoy movie nights in the van.
Other than the view, these doors are actually very functional. They allow us to have a big cross breeze that blows right through the van. So even on hot days where it's 36, 37 degrees, we stay cool.
We don't really know how people put these in a logical order because it's a small space and there's a lot of stuff on top of itself. But I think we'll just stick to what's in front of us. So next up, storage. Off to the garage.
As you can probably tell, it's pretty full in there. We've got 2 skateboards, 2 wetsuits, a whole duvet. We've got a pull-out table as well. Essentially, this is where we keep all of our activity gear that we don't have room for in the main part of the van. And this just clips onto the front of here. While we're here, we've actually got a lovely mattress and a memory foam topper. We just haven't figured out a way to keep these together yet.
There's some buttons on them, but they always pop. Anyway, van life reality, hey?
Exactly.
So more on the storage. We've got
his and hers, Shelley's and Ben's.
we got 3 baskets each, and we just keep, yeah, everything in there. They are pretty messy, but that's all right. You just close it up, good to go.
Out of sight, out of mind.
We've also got another cupboard down here where we keep our projector, extra groceries, dirty washing. You don't really want to see in there. Let's look at the view again. So our last secret weapon part of storage is this cupboard up here. It goes right to the front of the cab, and it's where we keep just about everything else. It's always a mess. It's pretty impossible to keep clean, but we've got jumpers, yoga mats, umbrellas, you name it. It's probably up there. My favourite last addition to the van was definitely this little bar. I didn't know what to do with this section, so we got some awesome glasses and put them all up. They're not actually glass though. This is all this company called Outdoor Drinkware, and it's pretty sturdy plastic, and so if it falls, it's all good. We've got some smoothie cups, and of course, the important way to make cocktails while you're living in the van. No slumming it here. So this is our indoor kitchen space. I'm quite short, I'm only 5 foot tall, but I can stand up in here fine. Ben's a bit taller, and we've got an outdoor kitchen area, but we'll show you that in a minute. So inside we've got a tap that, well, having issues with this at the moment, but normally you just turn it on and we have running water. At the moment you have to flick on and off about 10 times, so we won't get into that. So we keep some hand wash, we just make our own detergent, we use this for spraying just about everything, and yeah, hand wash, hand sanitizer, toothbrush. So underneath the sink we have 10 litres of grey water and 2 bins, recycling and normal. We also keep some toilet paper, and because we've got a toilet under there as well, and on the other side we've got this hose that you just pull out and we can take outside when our water's working. And we can have like an outdoor cold shower, or sometimes in summer when it's so hot we've had a warm shower because it's been that warm through the day. Last but not least is the toilet. I really like having an indoor toilet. It's just a bit of comfort, and sometimes the toilets you find on the road aren't too crash hot, and often the free camps in Australia don't have one. So this is a bodge job I made up on the road. So you just open it, got a little bungee to keep it in place because it wasn't quite big enough to fit some runners. And then yeah, it just comes out. You don't actually want to see the inside. And you slide it away. Simple solution, but when we get to Perth or when we get access to a shed again, we want to redo this whole cupboard. As you can see, it's holding on by a thread with all these barrel bolts, but without a lot of tools on the road, this is what we've made work, and it works for now.
So if it's my turn to cook, I'm usually outside. I've got this little pull down table here, which props down just to my height. And then in this drawer here, I've got a double burner gas cooker, which just sits on here, pops open, and then we've got a gas bottle that sits underneath, hooks up, and we're good to go. This is our main drawer of the kitchen. We've got everything you could need utensil wise in here. We've got enough dishes and plates to have guests and friends over. We've got pots and pans, we've got coffee machines, blenders, milk frothers, tongs, and we've got a little butane burner if the weather isn't any good. We have to cook inside.
Looks like a mess in here, but honestly, this is great. We can access it from the inside or the outside, and like Ben said, we've got a mini butane cooker, so we can cook inside if we need to. If the weather is awful, but at the moment,
the weather has been anything but. Moving on to our fridge. We've got a little Gecko 45 litre fridge, which does us well, and we've got all of our spices on the outside. And the best part is we can lock it if it's a bumpy road. But on the inside, the door opens fully out, which is great. We've got 2 drawers which keep our fruit and veg in. We've got a little freezer which essentially just keeps things extra cold, not frozen. And we can fit a whole bottle of bubbles in there. Perfect. You can't have a kitchen without knives and forks. Ta-da! We've got cooking knives, bread knives, mini tongs, and then we've got knives and forks and straws in here, and our light controller lives in there as well.
in here we just keep our toiletries bag each, and then we've just got like chopping boards and Tupperware and stuff like that. Then this is recently broken, but anyway. In here we basically keep all our breakfast supplies. All of these pantries are quite deep. They go all the way back to the edge, and we just make sure we keep, you know, the stuff that we don't use every day right at the back. Then we've just got some lunch sort of supplies and extra fruit or veggies that don't fit in the fridge, so helps us stay a bit longer without having to go to the shops every few days. And then yeah, we do keep a lot of like chickpeas and tinned food just in case, and a lot of dinner supplies in there. We also have my favourite part, which is my little easy access pantry up here. So just stuff we use every day for smoothies, cooking, whatever, super easy, and we bungeed it in. This bungee, if you're doing a van build, is honestly one of the best hacks we found, and we chucked it everywhere. So we've got bungee up here, and we use it here as well to keep our little hand wash, etc. just there. And then we also use the bungee to keep Ben's guitar nice and stable, and it won't fall off even on those corrugated roads.
Another important part of the van is of course having an electric guitar. Couldn't leave home without one, so I've got a little Squier mini Stratocaster which just plugs straight into my Mac, and I've got software that does it all for me. A lot of people ask me that, and it's just great.
So underneath our bed are these little holes down here. So the last two, that's our garage, which we showed you before, and under this section, so all under this bit, this is where we keep all our electronics, and then we have a bit of extra storage for our shoes in there. So this is where we see what's going on. You can get to it under here, so we normally just move the bed. Alright, so getting to our electrical isn't the easiest, but it's not something you have to get into every day, so it doesn't really matter too much. We just chuck the mattress out the way. But what we're running is 220 amp hour AGMs, thanks to our mates Tom and Joe. We've got a 1500 watt inverter as well as a DC to DC charger. So that DC allows us to charge while we're driving, and we've also got an Anderson plug so we can put a solar blanket outside. We've got a huge solar panel on the roof, but we have since bought a kayak, which, if anyone knows anything about solar, completely ruins it all. So we rely purely on the DC at the moment, just with the solar blanket and driving, and that does us well. So we just run 2 laptops, iPad, phones, cameras. Yeah, other than that, it's just the fridge and the lights. And then, yeah, we've got the 1500 watt inverter, which allows us to charge the laptops, but most importantly, the NutriBullet for lovely smoothies on a hot summer's day.
Also on the electrical front, we've got up here an extraction fan. It's brilliant. If we've locked up the van, we come in and we just need to get the hot air out, turn that on, and then we flick it over and have nice cool air blowing through. It also helps if we have to cook inside. We can turn it on and suck out all of the smelly smells out of the van. But more often than not, we just tend to lie underneath it with it blowing cool air onto our faces if it's too hot at night. Over here, we've also got a couple of power points that let us plug our laptops in, and a little USB charger for our phones and the Wi-Fi.
We've also got another 2 plugs there and 2 USBs there, as well as a second. It's just a swivel fan, just in case, you know, it's extra hot.
Exactly.
You need every climate in Australia.
One of the best things about the van, and probably what makes us most identifiable on the road, is our surfboard racks on the side. This was made by Shelley's dad as a means of making it easier to actually access our surfboards as opposed to climbing onto the roof. They just lock in with these 2 straps up here, slide them off, and you can just pull them out. It's super quick and easy and saves climbing up on top of the roof.
Alright, so before we move on to showing you how the couch converts to a bed and back again, we thought we'd sit down and explain a little bit about what the van looked like when we first picked it up.
Yeah, the biggest change we made was all of the wooden fixtures, really. The countertops on the kitchen and the desk were really cheap, mismatchy wood. They were ugly.
And like, lots just wasn't quite finished, was it?
No, all of the fronts of the wood were just like left untreated, and like,
and they were really dark brown, which just really closed off the van. So one of the first things we did was actually paint everything and changed all the hinges and painted the roof,
which just opened it up so much. We didn't want to go for like a fully white van. All of the walls had this nice,
yeah, we love the walls,
characterful, colourful paneling, which we kept. We love that.
And we just tried to keep it as kind of like rustic chic van as possible, bit beachy vibes. Like, we didn't want it too pristine and perfect because we only spent a couple of weeks fixing it up, and there are still things that break and go wrong, as with every van. But we just didn't have the time with Ben's visa looming. We just kind of had to hit the road as quick as possible, hey? Yeah,
so we just wanted to make it as comfortable and as nice looking as we could without wasting all of our time.
There's obviously some changes we would like to make, but for now, we're very happy with how this is going. We've lived in it for 4 months today. Okay, so we thought we'd show you what making the bed was like at night. It actually only takes us about 30 seconds. We have some high-tech string holding it up as a couch in the middle of the day. Take that off, slide it in position, and we're good to go. It's just a piece of wood that we slide out. So, let's show you how it's done. Oh. One last thing is, if it's very hot, we've got these little thermal blinds. We just made these just from a roll of thermal, I don't know, like sleeping mat from Kmart, and just cut them to trace, and they actually slot really nicely in the windows at the back. You can get expensive ones, but these were very cheap and they do the trick. But I think in the morning we're going to wake up to the sunrise. And then we store the pillows in the front when we're driving, just pull them through. In summer, the sheets stay on, we're pretty lazy.
So this is the cab. We've got a auto gearbox now in here, which is super handy in all those long drives, makes it very much enjoyable. Shelley and I both share the drive as well, which makes it easier. Up here we've got a hat rack where we keep our lovely hats. They're super easy to just pull off, like so. Importantly, we've got the radio and we've got my old iPod in case we have no reception, which is often. Spotify plays up, we just plug this in. And over here we've got a little UHF radio, so if we ever need to call to get around a road train or message some mates, we can do that.
Right, so my favourite part about the cab is the fact that there's an extra 2 seats here. And me being so small, I can lounge out if Ben's doing the driving, have a good nap. It's like having 3 seats on an aeroplane to yourself. But really, generally this 3rd seat is kept for our camera bag and our pillows during the day. We don't have anywhere to store our pillows after we've made the bed. But we have a little lap desk, so sometimes we work while one of us is driving. Behind the driver's seat we keep 2 extra chairs, and behind these seats, you can access it from the back, we keep our solar blanket and some tools. So we just have like a small kit of random tools that you could use. We're not really sure, Dad helped us put it together, but we've got a power drill and a jigsaw, and we've used that a couple of times to fix things along the road. But other than that, it's a pretty standard cab. Yeah, we've got the, this is very important in Australia, block the sun out, and just, yeah, a little bit of extra storage, and we use every inch of storage in the side baskets. The other thing we've got is we've just got I'm not actually sure what this is called, but it just lets your tyres down when we go a little bit off-roading. We don't have a compressor to pump them back up, so we just make sure we're either with friends that have one or we're nearby a petrol station. Yeah, that's about it. That's the cab. This is where we spend a lot of the time on the driving days, obviously. And we have gotten locked in the back once. We're not sure how it happened, but Ben can fit through this little hidey hole and come through the front in case of an emergency.
So that's our van tour. Let us know what you like, put it in the comments. We're super happy with the layout and how it's turned out.
We think it's the perfect layout for such a short sized van. This just fits in a normal sized car park, which is great for if we're going into the city, but for the use of the space and being able to have an office, yeah, we're super stoked with how it turned out. And obviously we couldn't have done it without the help of family and friends, particularly my dad, as neither of us really had any clue what we were doing with the power tools. But we have learned a hell of a lot, haven't we?
We've learned so much.
Let us know if you've drawn any inspiration from anything in our van in the comments,